Hello, welcome back to James Football TV. Let's rate the Premier League club's transfer window. Right, before I start, please rate your club's transfer window from A star, A, B, C or F in the comments down below. And then at the end, you can see how I rated them and we can do a little comparison. All right, let's start off with Arsenal. So, Arsenal had a good start. They had a good transfer window. So, I reckon I'm going to rate them pretty highly. They brought in Madueke, who's now, he's needs to be used because Saka's got injured. They brought in Gyökeres. I mean, the celebration, not that fond of it. Arsenal fans, a bit cringe, but he's had a good start as well. Got a couple of goals. Eze, he's only come off the bench, but I think he'll be a good signing. He's a very good player. They've let go of Tavares. He was going to go. Released Tomiyasu though. That's interesting. Obviously, Partey's gone. That's an interesting one. They let out Reece Nelson on loan, which is a good signing. So, they've also brought in Hinakape, it's just good depth. Like overall, their team now, they've got so much depth. It's unbelievable. Right. I'm going to rate them at the end of the video, so you'll find out. I'm just going to comment on them so far. So, Aston Villa next. Not a great window from Villa here. They've really struggled. I think they've struggled with FFP and things like that. And also the whole thing with Martinez saying that he was going to go, he was crying at the end of the game or whatever, and then he hasn't left. It's a bit of a weird one. It's a weird one. They've let Leon Bailey go on loan. I mean, Ramsey, I've heard that he's been forced out, so I feel quite bad for that. I mean, got a good fee for him, but I don't think it's a player they wanted to let him go. They just had to for FFP. So they brought in Sancho and Elliott on loan. I think they've got they've got obligations to buy. So they're quite good signings, but I think they're going to struggle. They've had a really bad start. So I'm not sure about this. So we'll see. Let's move on to Bournemouth. Bournemouth have had an interesting window. Lots would say, they've lost lots of players. So they're going to struggle. Half their defence is gone and things like that. But let's look at the actual transfers. So they've brought in Diakite, they've brought in Petrovic, Truffert, and they've brought in another centre-back. So they've basically replaced, from losing Zabani to PSG, Kerkez to Liverpool, Howson to Real Madrid, and obviously they lost Kepa to Arsenal. Yes, big losses, but also big fees. And they've brought in players for a lower price, and they've now got the biggest net profit in Europe. So, overall, a very good window. I mean, honestly, a good window. So, I personally, I know I'm a Bournemouth fan, but if you look at the stats, it's incredibly impressive, and they've had a good start. 2 wins, and 2 clean sheets, seeming as they've lost their whole defence. Anyway, let's move on to Brentford. So, Brentford, just an interesting and slightly questionable window for me personally. They've let go of Mbeumo. They've let go of Wissa. It was expected. They had excellent seasons, and Wissa obviously didn't train. He was ready to go. He was expected to go. Big fees, good fees, and they've let go of Flecken as well. Norgard for 15 million. I think it was to do with his contract. But they've brought in Jordan Henderson, which I just don't know if I understand that. He's old. I get he's got Premier League experience, but he's just not. I just don't know about that. And then they brought in Dango from Bournemouth for 42 million. I mean, that doesn't go with their transfer policy at all. Usually they go looking around sort of the Moneyball sort of thing. So I'm not sure about that. I think Kelleher is a really good signing because, he's wanted first team and he's a very good keeper. If Alisson wasn't at Liverpool last season or the season before, he would have deserved to start. So overall, a solid window, but nothing special in my opinion. Okay, Brighton now. I think they haven't gone all out there. They've never really been like a team that's kind of like dominated the headlines. They've usually brought in young talent, and then they've then sold it to Chelsea for 100 million or something like that. So let's have a look. So they brought in Kuiper, who's he's actually quite an impressive player. He's been quite well known within Europe, so it's a good signing. Then a few other players, probably it's not bad signings, but building up the team is sort of what they want. Tom Watson, obviously we know about him, but then they've sold a Dingra, which he wasn't in the main team, and they got quite good money for him. So I'm not mad at that. João Pedro for 60 million. It's obviously a key player they've lost, but 60 million. Well, yeah, it just keeps them going. Estupinian, I'm sure Brighton fans are quite unhappy about that, just because he's a very good player, and but what can you do? I mean, yeah, what can you do? And then there's like losing Lamptey and things like but then they've lost Enciso for 10 million. I think that's quite rough, and it's gone to sort of Blueco, Chelsea, as well as Buonanotte. So that's also, I don't know. I'm not really sure on what Brighton's sort of business plan here was, but I'm sure we'll get proven wrong next season when they've developed another unbelievable talent. And then we go on to Burnley, Burnley is an interesting one. I'm not sure on Burnley either. They let go of Trafford for 30 million. Obviously, a great profit for Burnley, but it's like they needed a good keeper, but then they've just lost him. I don't know. I'm also not sure on losing Trafford, but they're probably happy with the money. And then they brought in, Kyle Walker, who's a little bit washed, but it's good Premier League experience for them. They've brought in Breuer from Chelsea for 20 odd million. I just don't know about that. 20 million for a striker who's not got proven goal scoring ability, especially in the Premier League, and he's known for it having an injury record. It's questionable. Ugachukwu, I think that's a good signing. He had a decent season with Southampton. Obviously, they got relegated, but he was clearly a better player in that team. They've brought in good players to build up their squad, but they've spent quite a lot of money for. I'm not sure on the actual quality they've brought in, and had a decent amount of outgoings. Once again with Burnley, it's something like they might struggle, but they haven't had a bad start, so let's see. Chelsea now. I think Chelsea have had a really, really, really good window. I think potentially it beats Liverpool in a way, just because of how good their business has been. They've sold really well. I think they're one of the biggest selling fees out of all the clubs. The one that stands out for me is letting Felix go, making money out of João Felix for 43 million. I think that is unbelievable business. Petrovic, great sell. Like, they didn't want to keep him, so they got good money for him. Madueke, profit. Dewsbury Holt, profit. Breuer, straight profit. Vega, profit. I mean, every player they're selling here. I mean, Nkunku not so much, but they've still managed to get 36 million for him, which is just unbelievable business. And then they bought in really well. Like, Pedro he's just dominating the league right now. Liam Delap, it's an unfortunate thing that he's got a hamstring injury, but I think he's got a good future ahead of him, and he helps with the sort of homegrown thing. Hato, good backup for Cucurella, which was needed. Estavo, I mean, look, he's just going to be the wonder kid that his name it's been followed around him for a while. Garnacho, not sure on that. I don't think he's a great player, but we haven't seen him play, so we'll have to give him time on that one. So, and in general, they've brought in good backup, especially now they're in the Champions League. They're going to need it. So it's good. It's good from them. Crystal Palace now. I feel for Crystal Palace fans, really, because I think all summer they've known that they're gonna lose at least one of Eze or Guehi. They knew that, and it took quite a while for that to happen. So, yeah, it's interesting. I mean, they haven't lost Guehi, but I think now, I don't know, it's going to be tough for him because he was basically gone, and then now he's had to stay because the owner or whoever has not let him go because they didn't find a solid replacement. So they let Eze go. Good money because it was his release clause, obviously, so that's really good. But they just haven't... I'm really shocked that they haven't brought in more. Just because of being in a European competition, you think, okay, let's build up the team. And they've just won the FA Cup and the Community Shield. But no, they've not really brought in anything spectacular. Pino, yes, he's an impressive signing. But apart from that, I mean, it's just nothing that special. So, Crystal Palace, I just think they're going to struggle with the extra additives of having to compete in Europe. So, yeah. Not a great one from Crystal Palace there. Everton. Now we move on to Everton. I think they started off the transfer window struggling. You know, they hadn't really brought in much. You know, it's a hard one. But then nearer the end, they've managed to really bolster up. So, I mean, the main signing I think here is bringing Jack Grealish in on loan. Already, I think what is he on? 4 assists. Which is really impressive. And they've done really well so far, especially now they've got the new stadium and everything. I think it's a really good time to be an Everton fan. Dewsbury Hall, some are saying he's basically Wirtz, but for 29 million rather than 115 or 106, however much he cost. They've brought in Charlie Alcaraz. Dibbling, I think Dibbling is slightly desperate business. 42 million. I think Southampton have kind of dropped Everton's trousers a bit here. But we're going to see what he's like. He's had Premier League experience. That probably adds to how much he cost. I think maybe Everton would have liked to bring in another defender, perhaps, seeing as they've still got Braithwaite injured, who is their best defender. So, yeah. We'll see. We'll see about Everton, but I think a solid window from them. A solid window. Now Fulham. This is another one which I'm like, it's not great. It's not great from them, really. I think I would have expected a bit more. So they let go Pereira, which it's a shame for them because I thought he was one of their top players. But he's gone now. Willian released again. Probably expect him back in January. They haven't really let many others go, but they've brought in Kevin, who was sort of linked to them all summer. They brought in Chukwueze as well, which I think is quite a good signing. They were going to bring in Tyreek George, but then that fell through, I think, last minute. So, yeah, I think they would have wanted more Fulham, and they haven't really brought in anything else, and their team's kind of stagnated a bit there, which I don't know. They haven't got a bad team. They haven't got a bad team at all. But, yeah, the start they've had has been mediocre, but lost to Chelsea. I mean, fair enough. And then 2 draws. It's I don't know. We'll see. Fulham are a good side. So, yeah, not a great one, but okay. And now Leeds, obviously, coming up to the Premier League again. Yeah, I think Leeds fans, as well as other fans, maybe would have expected more. Watching them this season, it just sort of gives me this sort of vibe that they haven't got enough Premier League quality. They brought in good players. They've brought in good players. So, they've brought in Longstaff, which I think is a great signing. He's lots of Premier League experience, and he's a great player. The keeper situation's a bit dodgy because I've seen he hasn't had a great start. They brought in Mecca, I think his name is. Good signing. He's a solid player. And on a free, it's great. Dominic Calvert-Lewin, though, I'm not sure. I think that's a bit desperate, really. Yes, he's got Premier League experience, but he seems to be injured every day. And surprised he didn't get injured signing the contract. So, yeah, I'm not sure on that one. And didn't he miss a penalty? So, yeah, I don't know. Leeds, it's they've brought in players, which is what you need. But is it enough? We'll see. And now we move on to Liverpool. Seem to have dominated the Sky Sports and everything, all the press. It's a good window for Premier League champions. The only thing I have is I think bringing in Ekitike and Isak is greedy, and also, is it necessary? Is the Coutinho money still going? Really? I mean, so bringing Isak in for 125 million and bringing in Ekitike for 79 is unbelievable. I mean, I don't know what they're going to do. Are they going to start both? Or are they going to put Ekitike more like a winger, which he's done for Frankfurt? I don't know. I think they've done great with bringing Kirkes and Frimpong. They haven't started amazingly, but they're good players. We know that. They've brought in Mamardashvili as well, which is more like a long-term thing to replace Alisson. And then I think letting go Nunez, they wanted to do, and it's great money. 56 million is really, really good. Trent going is a shame. Lots of fans were not happy with that, but he wanted to go. Clearly learnt Spanish well. Kelleher also, it's a good sell for them. They've got Mamardashvili now, so he's a good backup, and 18 million is really good for them. Quansah, don't think he was actually good enough for Liverpool, so it's a good sell. And letting go Diaz, I was a bit like, not sure about this one, but he's not in their plans, and 65 million is great for them. It's great. So I think it's a good window for them, but I just don't like how much they've spent on two strikers. I might feel for Ekitike because they're going to have to start Isak. And then the last one, obviously, is Wirtz, 116 million. Hasn't had a great start, I'll be honest. I think there's a lot that's expected of him, and he might take a while to really have a big impact. Man City, they have not had a good start. They've, I think transfers, I don't know, I'm not sure on them. Really not sure. They've let go McAtee for 30 million. I thought they would have wanted to keep him and really develop him, a bit like Foden, but maybe not. They've let go Jack Grealish on loan. Obviously, he wanted to go. His career really stagnated. Gundogan going was a pretty big shock for me, but I guess he's had enough now. Akanji going, another interesting one, but he's clearly not in Guardiola's plans. De Bruyne going, that was expected. Ederson, it's a shame. He's had such a good City career, and I think he's probably better than any of the keepers they've got at the moment. Clearly not in their plans. Okay, Reinders, 46 million, a great signing. He is a very good player, so that's fine. Aït-Nouri, they needed a left back, another good signing. But all I'm seeing in City's sort of transfer business here is they haven't brought in a right back, which that's what they've needed since June, but they still haven't done it. Why? I don't get it. Turkey, okay, good signing. It's a good signing. But then they brought in Trafford and Donnarumma, both players who have cost quite a lot of money, and both would want to start. But you just know Donnarumma's going to start, seeing as he's, started for PSG, won the Champions League, probably one of the best keepers in Europe since last season. So Trafford, 31 million, and he's not even going to start? What? It doesn't make sense. It's like big money. So, yeah. Man City, I'm not sure about. Man United. Now, this is another questionable window for me. It's I don't know. So they bring in Højlund for quite a lot of money. He was poor. He was poor for United, and now he's gone out on loan. I mean, what? It just shows that they've got no confidence in him. Sancho on loan, obviously that's expected. Losing Anthony, I mean, he clearly is loved in Betis, so it's good business, I think. But they still spent close to 90 million, I think, for him. Marcus Rashford, yeah, fair enough. He's not really in their plans. Garnacho for 40 million. I think, as sort of a semi-homegrown player at United, it's a bit of a shame, seeing as, you know, I think he had a lot of love, but 40 million is good business. In Bournemouth for 71 million. I think in the long term it's going to come out as a good signing because he's a really high quality player, but at the moment it's seems he missed a penalty against Grimsby Town. It's a bit laughable. And the same with Cunha. I think he's played very well, but United as a whole still a bit poor. Sesko, it's a long-term transfer, but I'm starting to become concerned that he might be another Højlund. Hopefully not. Overall, an average window for United. Hopefully some of the players really do develop, and I want United to do well. I do. Newcastle now. I feel like I'm going on a run of negativity, but you know, I think it's exciting what Newcastle have done. They've lost players, but I think they've got a lot to look forward to. They've obviously got Champions League football, and they've bought a new winger, who's Elanga, for 55 million, I think is on the steep end. It is on the steep end. And then they brought in 2 new strikers, 2 extremely different players, for quite high fees. 69 million for Walter Maida and Wissa for 15.5 million. It's pretty high. It's pretty high, but I think they're going to do well. I think Eddie Howe's system, it allows strikers to succeed, and I think they will do well. Champions League football, they might struggle to play both competitions. They brought in Jacob Ramsey as well, Malik Chow, it's good for them. And Ramsdale, it's good to have him as well. Nick Pope, I think he's actually not a great keeper. They've let go of Lloyd Kelly for 20 million, straight profit for them, which is really good. They lost Callum Wilson. I think he was going to go. Longstaff, real shame for them. You know, he's a loved player in the city. Obviously, he's Geordie. He's completely loved. And then Isak, I think this is where they've just messed up. They should have, I don't know what was going on, but the whole summer has been dominated by Isak. And it's completely messed them up. Yes, they've got great money for him, but it's just messed up. 125 million. But it happened right at the end. It was all dealt with wrong. And obviously dealt with wrong by the player as well. Forest now. So I think Forest have had a good window. Their start has not been great though. And Mr. Marinakis, he's sort of dominated the window as well. It's good they kept Gibbs White, and clearly looked scared with Mr. Marinakis there, but maybe he didn't have a choice. Hutchinson for 37.5 million and hasn't been included in their squad for Europe. Oh, it's an interesting choice to say the least. I think James McAtee is a really good one for them. He's a good player, and he's got a lot of future. He's got a future. They brought in Igor Jesus and Ndoye, which is good. It's good additions to their squad. I think they've brought in quite a lot of good additions. They've let go of Elanga, lots of profit. Obviously a shame they've lost him, but I think it's good that they've managed to profit quite well off that. Overall, a solid window from Forest, I think. Sunderland. Wow. Sunderland have really shocked me, especially those last 2 transfers on the window. That shocked me, honestly. Firstly, Granit Xhaka. Granit Xhaka going to Sunderland was the last thing that I expected. He's a great player. Captained an unbeaten side, Leverkusen, and now he's the captain of Sunderland. It's great. It's great for them. It is really good. That if they go down, I just know that he would have done his best and tried his hardest. But I don't think they're going to go down, Sunderland. I really don't. Adingra, it's a good signing. It's a solid signing for them. Diarra as well, solid. Enzo Lefebvre, obviously, half the season spent on loan there. I think he's another great signing. He's got a lot of quality. They've also brought in Mark... they haven't brought in Mark Guiu. That's a shame for them, but I don't think he's that good anyway. I think maybe it might be a bit of a blessing in disguise, seeing as they managed to bring in Robbie from Ajax instead, who I think great player, and they got a decent fee for him. They brought in Gertrude as well. I'm not sure that's the correct pronunciation, but he can play quite like along the whole back line for them, so really good. And also Mukiele, great signing. He's got a lot of experience. So overall for Sunderland, I know they lost Joe Bellingham, but I think he was going to go, and they've brought in really well. I think I would prefer Granit Xhaka over Joe Bellingham. And I think a lot of Sunderland fans might agree with me on that one. So overall, a really good window for Sunderland. Tottenham now. Tottenham's window has been maybe not the best, but I think one of the main signings for them was bringing in Thomas Frank, and perhaps a small shock of losing Postecoglou. But they've brought in decently well. Apart from, I don't know if I agree with bringing Matisse Tell from buying from the loan. I don't think he's actually that good, and he hasn't really impressed me when we played Tottenham. Bournemouth played Tottenham. He didn't really do much. They also brought in Kudus, probably their best signing. Maybe it might be Xavi Simons, who is a great signing. It is a great signing because he can play in the 10, he can play on the wing, which is where they're both the places they need him, because they've lost Maddison and they've lost Son. So it's good for them. I think he is a really good signing, and the fact they beat Chelsea to it as well, impressive. And they brought in Mawani as well, who can also play on the wing as well as in striker. So yeah, when you look at it, and Paulinho, wow, he is quality, a proper quality player, and he was incredibly good for Fulham. So it's good for Tottenham. They've lost Son, but I think he wanted to go. And yeah, they've lost a few others, but nothing huge. So it's a solid window for Tottenham. Really, really solid. Now West Ham. I think West Ham are going to struggle this season, but they have brought in a few players, but I think they're going to struggle. They bought Todibo from loan. Kyle Walker-Peters, great signing. Play on both sides, fullbacks, and he's got lots of experience. Mateus Fernandes, that is a flipping great signing for them, seeing as their midfield was rubbish before that, so he's going to help significantly. Hermansen, I'm going to say not a good signing, seeing as the start he's had has been low quality. Callum Wilson, if he doesn't get injured, will be a good signing. I think one of their best signings is Diouf, because he's really good. He is really good. So yeah, I think he's going to be good in that sort of wing back position. He's got a great whip on him. So yeah, he's going to do them well. They lost Kudus. I'm struggling to see where they've adequately replaced him. I'd say Diouf, but he's more of a defensive player. But yeah, I don't think it's a great window from West Ham. I don't think they can have a great season. And then finally, Wolves. It's a decent window for Wolves, but I think they're another team that might struggle. They haven't brought in anything of proper quality. When Wolves played Bournemouth, I thought that their team didn't look Prem ready. They apart from Strand Larsen, Andre, and a few others, their team is quite lacking in quality. So it's good they brought Strand Larsen in permanently. He's a great player. They got Arias, which is good, and a few others, but not much. And I appreciate that they've lost Cunha. He was going to go, but I think he's like very moody and like wasn't a good vibe for the team. But he was clearly their best player. Aït-Nouri, losing him as well is not great. He was a great player for them. Lost Semedo and things like that. Fabio Silva sold him. I think Wolves are going to struggle as well this season, but maybe they might save themselves in January, but I don't know what their financial situation is. But yeah, thank you very much for listening to that bit. Now let's actually give the scores. So now I've commented on all the teams, let me give my grades. So Aston Villa, I've given an F. I just think they've put themselves in a hole because of FFP. So I think an F is valid. Bournemouth, this is not biased, but I'm giving them an A just because of how much straight profit they've managed to do, and they've given themselves so much room for FFP. Brentford, a C, just because I don't think they've brought in well. Jordan Henderson is a bit of a desperate signing. Brighton, I've given a B. I think their business is to bring in sort of not that well-known players and try and develop. Burnley, a C, just because of the money they've spent on players that aren't necessarily that high quality, which might make them struggle financially in the future. Chelsea, an A star. I honestly, Chelsea, really, really, really good window. Crystal Palace, a C. I just think Gahey might not be in the right mindset now. They haven't brought in enough, and they've lost Eze. So yeah, they didn't replace him adequately either. So yeah, gonna struggle. Everton, a B, just because of I think Grealish and Dewsbury Hall are really, really, really good signings. So yeah, I think they're gonna do all right. Fulham, a C. They haven't done much. Leeds, it's a B/C for them. I think they brought in some good players, but I don't know if they brought in enough. Liverpool, it's an A. It would be an A star, but Ekitike and Isak, they've spent a lot of money, and having both of those it's questionable business. Man City is a B. I'm going heavily on the fact that they've had a poor start to the season, and I'm just starting to think that maybe Guardiola he's not fit for purpose anymore. Man United, also a B. It's a decent window for them, but they've also had a poor start. Newcastle, a C, another sort of FFP situation, and Isak's dominated their entire window. Forest, an A. They've brought in a lot, and they've properly beefed out their team, which is good for them, seeing as they're going into the Europa League. Sunderland, A star. It is just such an impressive window for them. Spurs, a B. A solid window, but not the best. Not the best. I think they're missing a bit, and they've got Champions League. I feel like they could have brought in a bit more, seeing as they lost Maddison, and it took them ages to replace him. It's just questionable. West Ham, an F. They're going to really struggle, and it's clear. Wolves as well, an F. It's clear, not a great window as well. So yeah, that's my ratings. Feel free to leave a comment if you don't agree, or if you agree, or if you think I should change anything. This is my opinion, so I'm not. This is not factual, but it's my opinion. I hope that was good and good to know. And yeah, thank you very much. This was James Football TV. Bye bye.